The lights of Celestial Haven sparkled like tiny stars against the dark metal walls of Horizon Point Station. Minji wiped down the last table in her section, her tired feet aching after another long shift. She had been working at this fancy restaurant for 3 years now, and she knew every corner of the place like the back of her hand. The restaurant served the richest and most powerful beings in this part of the galaxy, and Minji had learned to move quietly and observe carefully. Tonight was different, though. Minji could feel it in her bones. Something in the air felt wrong, like the moment before a storm hits. She shook her head, trying to push away the strange feeling. Maybe she was just tired. Her brother Dohayan had been working extra hours in the kitchen, and she had been covering for another waitress who called in sick. The front door opened with softness, and Minji looked up. Her heart skipped a beat. Theric had arrived. The massive dragon walked through the entrance, his obsidian scales catching the light and shimmering with an almost liquid quality. He stood nearly 8 feet tall, and his amber eyes glowed softly in the dim restaurant lighting. Despite his fearsome appearance, Theric had always been kind to the staff. He never yelled, always said please and thank you and tipped generously. "Good evening, Theric," the manager Velcris said, his multiple arms gesturing welcomingly. "Your private room is ready as always." "Thank you," Theric replied, his deep voice rumbling like distant thunder. He nodded politely to Minji as he passed. She bowed her head slightly in return, a gesture of respect she had learned to give to important guests. Minji gathered her serving tray and headed to the kitchen to prepare Theric's usual appetizers. The kitchen was hot and busy, with her brother Dohayan shouting orders to his staff. Pots clanged, flames roared, and the smell of exotic spices from a dozen different worlds filled the air. "Dohayan, I need the special appetizer set for private room," Minji called out. Her brother looked up, sweat dripping down his forehead. "Theric is here? Good. That dragon appreciates real cooking. Give me 5 minutes." While she waited, Minji went to the supply room to grab fresh napkins and silverware. The supply room was quiet, tucked away from the chaos of the kitchen. She pushed open the door and stepped inside, reaching for the shelf where the expensive cloth napkins were stored. That was when she heard the voice. "The target is in position," someone whispered. "I have clear access to the left side. Windows are unguarded. This will be clean and quick." Minji froze. Her hand stopped halfway to the napkins. She held her breath, afraid even that small sound would give her away. Through a gap in the shelving units, she could see a man in a waiter's uniform. But something was wrong. Very wrong. The man held a small communication device to his ear, and his free hand rested on something bulky hidden under his jacket. His eyes were cold and calculating, nothing like the warm, tired eyes of the real waiters who worked here. His movements were too precise, too military. Real waiters move with flow that came from years of balancing trays and dodging busy kitchens. This man moved like a predator. "Understood," the fake waiter said into his device. "Beginning approach in 2 minutes. Left side exposure confirmed." Minji's mind raced. "Left side. Target." The words echoed in her head. Theric sat on the left side of his private room, near the window that looked out over the station. Someone was going to hurt him, maybe kill him. Her hands started shaking. What should she do? Station security was on the other side of the complex, at least a 10-minute walk. By the time she got there and explained everything, it would be too late. If she screamed for help now, the fake waiter might panic and attack immediately. If she tried to warn Theric directly, the assassin would see and react. The fake waiter tucked away his communication device and straightened his uniform. He was getting ready to move. Minji had maybe a minute, probably less. Think. Her brother always said she was good at solving problems. "You notice things other people miss," he told her once. "That's why you are so good at this job." An idea formed in her mind. It was risky, but it was the only thing she could think of. Moving as quietly as possible, Minji grabbed a cloth napkin from the shelf and pulled a pen from her apron pocket. Her hands trembled so badly she could barely hold the pen, but she forced herself to focus. She wrote quickly, "Listen, fake waiter. Armed. Left side." The words looked messy. her handwriting shaky from fear, but they were clear enough. She folded the napkin carefully and placed it on her tray, then grabbed the silverware she had come for. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, she walked out of the supply room. The fake waiter was gone. He must have already left to make his move. Minji rushed to the kitchen. Dohyne had just finished plating Theric's appetizers, beautiful arrangements of food that looked almost too pretty to eat. "Here you go, little sister. Tell him the chef says hello." "Thanks," Minji managed to say, though her voice came out strange and tight. Dohyne gave her a concerned look. But she was already moving, the tray balanced perfectly in her hands despite the fear coursing through her. The walk to Theric's private room felt like it took forever, even though it was only about 30 steps. Each step felt heavy. What if this did not work? What if Theric did not understand? What if the assassin saw her warning him? She pushed open the door to the private room with her shoulder, keeping her face calm and professional. Years of serving difficult customers had taught her how to hide her emotions. Theric sat at his table, his massive form filling the reinforced chair, designed to hold his weight. He was studying holographic displays that floated above the table, images of mining operations and financial charts. His clawed fingers moved through the air, manipulating the data with practiced ease. "Good evening," Minji said, proud that her voice came out steady. "I have your appetizers." "Ah, excellent," Theric said without looking up from his work. "Your brother's cooking is the best on the station." Minji approached from the right side, keeping herself between Theric and the window. If someone was watching from outside, they would see her blocking the line of sight. Her hands moved automatically, placing the plates down with the smooth efficiency of someone who had done this thousands of times. Then came the critical moment. She placed the folded napkin beside his plate. As she did, she made eye contact with Theric and gave the smallest nod toward the wall that separated this room from the next one. The gesture was so slight that anyone else might have missed it, but Theric did not miss it. His amber eyes locked onto hers for a fraction of a second. In that brief moment, something passed between them, understanding, recognition of danger. Without changing his relaxed posture, Theric picked up the napkin as if it were simply part of his table setting. He unfolded it casually, glancing at it the way someone might look at a menu they had seen 100 times before. Minji saw his eyes move across the words. His expression did not change at all, but his pupils narrowed slightly. His tail, which had been resting loosely on the floor, tensed just a bit. Theric took a sip of his drink, still looking completely calm. Then he spoke, his voice carrying that same friendly tone he always used. "The service here is always exceptional. Please inform your manager I appreciate the attention to detail." Those words were meant for her. A thank you without words. An acknowledgement without giving anything away to anyone who might be watching or listening. "Of course," Minji replied with a small bow. "Please enjoy your meal." She turned and walked out of the room, forcing herself to move at a normal pace. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but running would draw attention. Once the door closed behind her, she leaned against the wall, her legs suddenly weak. She had done it. Theric knew. Now she could only hope that the warning would be enough, that the powerful Dragon Lord would know what to do with the information she had given him. In the private room, Theric carefully folded the napkin and placed it in his jacket pocket. His fingers moved the ring on his right hand, and he pressed it once. A silent emergency signal went out to a security team waiting outside the restaurant. Then Theric picked up his communicator and began making loud business calls, laughing and talking about mining contracts. To anyone watching, he looked completely distracted and vulnerable, but his amber eyes were alert, watching the door, waiting for the fake waiter to make his move. Minji stood outside the private room, her heart pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. She pressed her back against the wall, trying to look normal while her mind raced with fear. Through the door, she could hear Theric's deep voice talking loudly on his communicator about boring business things. He sounded so relaxed, so casual. But Minji knew better now. He was acting. She needed to stay close, but not too close. If the fake waiter saw her hovering near the door, he might get suspicious. Minji forced her legs to move and walked back toward the main dining area, grabbing empty plates from a nearby table even though her hands were shaking. The restaurant was busy tonight. Aliens from dozens of different worlds sat at tables, eating and talking. Some had scales, some had fur. Some looked almost human, but with strange colored skin or extra eyes. The noise level was high, which was good. If something bad happened, maybe the other guests would not notice right away. Minji scanned the room, looking for the fake waiter. Where was he? Her eyes moved from table to table, searching for that cold face and those military movements. There, by the bar, he stood with a tray in his hands, but he was not serving anyone. He was just standing there, watching the hallway that led to the private rooms. Their eyes met for a second, and Minji felt ice run down her spine. She quickly looked away and focused on stacking the plates on her tray. Act normal, she told herself. Just a tired waitress doing her job. Nothing special to see here. She walked past him toward the kitchen, feeling his eyes on her back the whole time. The kitchen door swung open, and the heat and noise swallowed her up. Do-Hyeon was plating another order, his hands moving with the skill of someone who'd been cooking for 20 years. "You look pale," her brother said, glancing at her. "Are you feeling sick?" "I am fine," Minji lied. She could not tell him what was happening. Not yet. If Do-Hyeon knew, he would try to protect her, maybe do something stupid and get hurt. Just tired. "You work too hard," Do-Hyeon said, shaking his head. "After tonight, take tomorrow off. I will handle it." Minji nodded, not trusting her voice to answer. She set down the dirty plates and grabbed a water pitcher, giving herself a reason to go back out to the dining room. She had to keep an eye on the fake waiter. She had to be ready to help if things went wrong. When she pushed back through the kitchen doors, the fake waiter was gone from his spot by the bar. Panic shot through her chest. Where did he go? She walked quickly through the dining room, trying not to look like she was searching for someone. Other waiters gave her confused looks as she passed. She never worked this section of the restaurant. Then she saw him. He was walking down the hallway toward the private rooms, carrying a pitcher of water just like she was. The perfect excuse to enter a room. Her stomach twisted into knots. Minji followed at a distance, trying to look like she was just heading to check on another private room. The hallway was long and lined with expensive artwork from different alien cultures. Soft lighting made everything look elegant and calm. But Minji felt anything but calm. The fake waiter stopped outside Therek's door. He adjusted his jacket, and Minji saw the bulge underneath. The weapon. He was really going to do it. He was going to walk in there and try to kill Therek. What could she do? She was just one human woman, small and weak compared to most aliens on the station. She had no weapons, no training. But she could not just watch this happen. She had warned Therek. But what if it was not enough? What if he needed more help? The fake waiter reached for the door panel. Minji made a decision. She walked forward quickly, her footsteps loud on the metal floor. "Excuse me," she called out. "That is my section. I will handle that room." The fake waiter turned to look at her. His eyes were dead and cold, like a shark. "I was told to bring water to this guest." "No need," Minji said, holding up her own pitcher. "I am already taking care of him. You should check on the other rooms." For a moment, they just stood there, staring at each other. The fake waiter's hand moved slightly toward his jacket. Minji's heart stopped. Was he going to kill her too? Then footsteps echoed down the hallway. Another waiter was coming, pushing a cart full of desserts. The fake waiter's hand moved away from his jacket. He gave Minji a cold smile that did not reach his eyes. "Of course," he said. "My mistake." He walked away, but Minji knew this was not over. He would try again. She had bought maybe a minute or two, nothing more. She opened the door to Therek's room and stepped inside quickly, closing behind her. Therek was still sitting at his table, but his posture had changed. He no longer looked relaxed. His body was coiled tight, ready to move, his amber eyes fixed on her immediately. "He is coming," Minji whispered urgently. "Right now. I tried to stop him, but he will be back." Therek stood up slowly. Even trying to be quiet, his movements made the floor shake slightly. He was so big, so powerful. "You did well," he said in a low voice. Now get behind me and stay there. But Minji shook her head. The emergency button. Where is it? Every private room had a panic button that would seal the room and alert station security. It was meant for guests who felt threatened or needed help. Theric pointed to a panel near the door. When he comes through that door, I will handle him, Theric said. But if things go badly, you hit that button. Understood? Minji nodded. She moved to the side of the room, still holding her water pitcher like it was a shield. It was stupid. A pitcher would not protect her from anything, but holding it made her feel slightly less helpless. They did not have to wait long. The door opened, and the fake waiter walked in with his water pitcher. He smiled that cold smile again. I apologize for confusion, he said. I was specifically asked to serve this room tonight. Were you? Theric asked. His voice was calm, but there was an edge to it now. Dangerous. The fake waiter set down his pitcher on the table. His hand moved toward his jacket. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. Theric's tail whipped out faster than Minji thought possible. It struck the fake waiter's arm just as his fingers touched the weapon. There was a crunching sound, and the man screamed. The weapon flew out from under his jacket and skittered across the floor. The assassin stumbled backward, clutching his broken arm. But he was not done. With his good hand, he pulled out a knife from his belt, his face twisted with pain and rage. You were supposed to be distracted, the assassin snarled. I was warned, Theric said simply. The assassin's eyes flickered to Minji for a second, and she saw the hatred there. He knew she was the one who ruined his plan. He lunged at Theric with a knife, moving with trained precision. But Theric was ready. The dragon caught the assassin's wrist in one massive clawed hand and squeezed. The knife fell to the floor with a clatter. Minji saw the weapon, the gun, lying near her feet. Without thinking, she kicked it. The gun slid across the smooth floor toward the far wall. Then she slammed her hand down on the emergency button. Red lights began flashing immediately. A loud alarm blared. Heavy metal barriers crashed down over the windows, sealing the room. The door locked with a heavy thunk. The assassin tried to pull free from Theric's grip, but it was useless. Theric lifted him off the ground like he weighed nothing. The man kicked and struggled, but he might as well have been fighting a mountain. Who sent you? Theric demanded. The assassin just laughed, a bitter, angry sound. You have enemies everywhere. Dragon. This changes nothing. Someone else will come. Someone better. Theric's eyes narrowed. We will see about that. There was a loud banging on the door. Station security. Open immediately. It is locked from the inside, someone else shouted. We need to override it. More banging. More shouting. Minji sank down against the wall, her legs finally giving out. The water pitcher fell from her hands and rolled across the floor. She started shaking, really shaking, as everything that had just happened crashed over her. She had been in a room with an assassin. She had watched Theric fight. She could have died. That man with the cold eyes would have killed her without a second thought if it meant completing his mission. Breathe, Theric said softly. He had pinned the assassin face down on the floor with one foot and was looking at her with concern. You are safe now. Breathe slowly. Minji tried to follow his advice. In and out, slow breaths. Her vision had started to get spotty, and she realized she had been holding her breath without knowing it. The door exploded inward. Station security poured in, weapons drawn. Theric's own security team came in right behind them, all of them armed and dangerous looking. Stand down, Theric ordered his people. Station security can handle this. 2 security officers grabbed the assassin and hauled him to his feet. Another officer approached Theric, a tablet in his hands. We need your statement, sir. Of course, Theric said. Then he pointed at Minji. But first, make sure she is okay. She saved my life tonight. All eyes turned to Minji, still sitting on the floor, still shaking. A medical officer knelt beside her, scanning her with some kind of device. No injuries, the medical officer reported. Just shock. She needs rest and probably something to calm her nerves. She needs a medal, Theric said firmly, and protection. This one, He gestured at the assassin. May have friends. The reality of those words hit Minji hard. The assassin had looked at her. He knew her face. If he had friends, if whoever hired him wanted revenge, she was in danger now. Her brother was in danger. What had she done? The station security office was cold and bright. Minji sat in a metal chair, wrapped in a blanket someone had given her, while officers asked her the same questions over and over. What did she see? When did she notice the fake waiter? Why did she think he was dangerous? How did she warn Theric? Her voice felt tired and small as she answered. The shaking had mostly stopped, but her hands still trembled when she picked up the cup of water they had given her. Across the room, the assassin sat in a containment field, his broken arm bandaged and his face blank and emotionless. Dohayan burst through the door, his chef's uniform still covered in sauce stains. His face was pale with worry. Minji, are you hurt? What happened? He rushed over and pulled her into a tight hug. Minji felt tears prick her eyes. She had been trying so hard to be brave, to answer all the questions calmly. But seeing her brother made all the fear come rushing back. I am okay, she managed to say. I am not hurt. Not hurt. Dohayan pulled back to look at her face. The manager said there was an assassin, that you saved Theric's life, that there was a fight. How are you okay? A security officer, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 eyes, stepped forward. Your sister showed remarkable courage tonight. She identified a threat, warned the target, and helped neutralize the attacker. She is very lucky to be alive. Dohayan's face went from pale to angry red. Lucky? My sister could have been killed. Where was security? Why was an assassin allowed into the restaurant at all? The officer's expression turned uncomfortable. We are investigating how he bypassed our screening. He had perfect false credentials. His disguise was excellent. Without your sister's sharp eyes, we would not have known until it was too late. I want protection for her, Dohayan demanded. If this assassin has partners, they will come after her. We are arranging, the officer started to say. The door opened again, and Theric walked in. He had changed clothes, his torn suit replaced with a simple but expensive-looking tunic. Behind him came 3 of his security guards, all of them armed and alert. That will not be necessary, Theric said, his deep voice filling the room. I am arranging protection myself. Minji and her family are under my personal guarantee now. Dohayan looked between Theric and his sister, confused. Your guarantee? What does that mean? Theric approached and stood before them. Despite his size, he moved with grace and control. It means anyone who harms your sister or your family will answer to me in the full power of the Draconis Syndicate. It means my people will watch over you until this threat is eliminated. It means you are safe. The security officer looked relieved. That is very generous, sir. We will still maintain station security protocols, but your additional protection will certainly help. Good, Theric said. Then he looked at Minji, his amber eyes soft with gratitude. May I speak with you privately? Minji glanced at her brother. Dohayan looked like he wanted to say no, but finally he nodded. I will be right outside. The security officers and guards filed out, leaving Minji and Theric alone in the room. Well, almost alone. The assassin was still there in his containment field, but he was far enough away that he could not hear their quiet conversation. Theric pulled up a chair and sat down. Even sitting, he was taller than Minji standing up, but he did not feel threatening. He felt protective, like a guardian. I owe you my life, Theric said simply. In my culture, that is a debt that cannot be repaid with simple money or gifts. It is a bond that lasts forever. You do not owe me anything, Minji said quietly. I just did what was right. Exactly, Theric replied. You saw danger and you acted. You put yourself at risk to save someone you barely know. That is not common, Minji, not among humans, not among dragons, not among any species I have met. That kind of courage is rare and precious. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the napkin, the one she had written her warning on. I am keeping this. It will remind me that wisdom comes in many forms, that size and strength are not the only kind of power. Minji felt her face grow warm. She was not used to this kind of praise. I was just doing my job. Your job is to serve food, Theric said with a slight smile. Stopping assassins is not in your job description. Tell me, what can I do for you? What do you want? Money? A new home on a better station? A ship of your own? I will give you whatever you ask. Minji thought about it. She thought about all the things she could ask for. Enough money to never work again. A ticket to one of the beautiful garden worlds she had seen in pictures. Adventure and travel across the galaxy. But when she opened her mouth, different words came out. My brother has always wanted to open his own restaurant. A real one, not just working in someone else's kitchen. He is an amazing chef, but he has never had the money to start his own place. Theric's eyes widened slightly. You want me to help your brother? Not yourself. Helping him is helping me, Minji said. He gave up his dreams to take care of me after our parents died. He got me this job. He has always put me first. Now I want to put him first. For a long moment, Theric just looked at her. Then he nodded slowly. You are remarkable. Most people, when offered anything they desire, choose for themselves. But you choose for someone you love. Very well. Your brother will have his restaurant. I will provide the funding, the location, and the initial supplies. And I will be his first investor and regular customer. Really? Minji felt tears building again, but these were happy tears. Really? Thera confirmed. But there is one condition. You must work there too. Your brother needs a manager he can trust, and after tonight, I know you can handle anything. Before Minji could respond, the door burst open. A woman in expensive clothes rushed in, flanked by more guards. She was another dragon, smaller than Theric, but still impressive, with dark red scales and green eyes. Theric, she exclaimed. I came as soon as I heard. Are you injured? I am fine, Yura, Theric assured her. Thanks to this human woman, Minji. Yura turned to look at Minji, her green eyes sharp and assessing. You saved him. She did more than save me, Theric said. She showed incredible bravery and quick thinking. I am in her debt. Yura's expression softened. She approached Minji and bowed her head, a sign of deep respect. Then I am in your debt as well. Theric is my cousin, and one of the few family members I trust. You have my gratitude and my protection as well. Minji did not know what to say. Two powerful dragons were now promising to protect her. It felt unreal, like a dream. The security officer came back in. Sir, ma'am, we have finished processing the prisoner. He has been identified as a Vorten mercenary named Kale. He is known for high-profile assassinations. He refuses to say who hired him. He will talk eventually. Yura said coldly, Vorten mercenaries always do when faced with the right motivation. We are also investigating his entry to the station, the officer continued. His credentials were sophisticated forgeries. Someone with significant resources backed this operation. Theric's expression darkened. My business rivals grow bold. They think they can eliminate me before the mining contract is finalized. Let them try, Yura said. After tonight's failure, they will think twice. And when we find out who hired this assassin, we will make sure they regret it. The officer looked uncomfortable. We appreciate your cooperation, but please remember that station law still applies. Revenge killings are not permitted. Of course, Theric said smoothly. I am a law-abiding citizen. I would never dream of breaking station regulations. But the way he said it made Minji think that whoever hired the assassin was in serious trouble, station laws or not. Dohayan was allowed back in, and the security officers began wrapping up their paperwork. Minji had assigned several statements, confirming what she saw and did. Her hand cramped from all the writing. Finally, they were free to go. Theric's guards escorted them back to the restaurant. It was late now, past closing time. The other staff had all gone home, and the lights were dimmed. It looked strange and empty. The manager, Velkris, was waiting for them. His many arms waved anxiously. Minji, I heard what happened. Are you all right? This is terrible. Terrible for business. She is fine, Dohayan said sharply. And she is a hero. She saved a life tonight. Yes, of course. Velcris said quickly, but still such violence. In our restaurant, what will people think? They will think your staff is observant and brave, Theric said, his voice hard. They will think Celestial Haven is a place where guests are protected, unless you have a problem with that. Velcris's face changed immediately. No problem at all. Minji is a valued employee. We are very proud of her. Good, Theric said, because I would hate to think she was being treated poorly after saving my life. That would reflect badly on this establishment. The threat was clear. Velcris nodded rapidly. Of course. Minji, take the next week off. With full pay, rest and recover. Minji was too tired to argue. She just nodded. Theric's guards walked them to their quarters, a small apartment they shared in the station's residential section. 2 guards stationed themselves outside the door. They will stay there, Theric explained. Rotating shifts. You will be safe. Thank you, Minji said. She meant it. Inside the apartment, Dohayan made tea while Minji sat on their old couch. Her body ached with exhaustion, but her mind was still racing. I still cannot believe you did that, Dohayan said, handing her a cup. You could have been killed. I know, Minji admitted, but I could not just do nothing. They sat in silence for a while, drinking tea. Finally, Minji told him about Theric's offer, about the restaurant, about the new future they could have. Dohayan was quiet for a long time. Then he smiled, really smiled, for the first time that night. You are amazing, little sister. Absolutely amazing. 6 months had passed since that terrible night. Minji stood at the entrance of Haven's table, the restaurant that was now partly hers and her brother's. The sign above the door glowed softly in multiple languages, welcoming guests from every corner of the galaxy. Inside, the dining room buzzed with conversation and the clinking of glasses. She still could not quite believe this was real. The restaurant occupied a prime location on Horizon Point, with huge windows overlooking the stars and passing ships. Theric had been true to his word. He provided everything they needed, money for equipment, connections to suppliers, even help hiring staff. Dohayan designed every detail of the kitchen himself, and it showed in the food that came out of it. Boss! Table 7 needs more water, called Jewu, one of their new waiters. He was young and still learning, but he had a good attitude. I will handle it, Minji said, grabbing a pitcher. She still preferred to work the floor rather than sit in an office. Managing was important, but she loved the direct contact with guests. The restaurant was full tonight, as it was most nights. Word spread quickly that Haven's table served excellent food and provided a safe, neutral space for meetings. Theric's reputation helped with that. Everyone knew that this restaurant was under protection, which meant no violence, no threats, no trouble. Even rival business groups could sit here and negotiate without fear. Minji moved through the tables with practiced ease. She knew most of the regular customers by name now. There was Grix, a trader who always ordered the spicy noodles. There was Ambassador Telvan, who came every week for the vegetable dishes Dohayan prepared specially for her species. There was Captain Rhodes and his crew, celebrating another successful cargo run. And there, in his usual corner booth, sat Theric. He came 3 times a week, always at the same time. Sometimes he brought business partners. Sometimes he came alone to think and work. Tonight he had Ur with him, and they were deep in conversation over holographic displays. Minji approached their table with a smile. Good evening. Can I get you anything else? The usual dessert, Theric said. Your brother's honey cakes. And tell him they get better every time. I will, Minji promised. She hesitated, then added, the station news mentioned the verdict today, about the assassin. Theric's expression darkened slightly. 20 years in a maximum security prison. Plus he gave up information about who hired him. The client is now in custody as well. That is good news, Minji said softly. It is. You're agreed, though justice always feels slow when you are the one waiting for it. After she left their table, Minji returned to the kitchen. Dohayan was in his element, commanding his staff like a conductor leading an orchestra. Flames leaped from pans, knives flashed as they chopped vegetables, and delicious smells filled the air. "Theric wants the honey cakes," Minji told him, already plating them. Dohayan replied with a grin. "I knew he would order them. He always does." Minji watched her brother work. He looked happier than she had ever seen him. This restaurant was his dream come true, and every night he poured his heart into the food he created. The stress lines around his eyes had faded. He smiled more. He even sang sometimes while he cooked. "We did it," Minji said quietly. "We really did it." Dohayan paused and looked at her. "No, you did it. You saved a dragon's life with nothing but words on a napkin, and he changed our lives forever. I am still amazed by you, little sister." Before Minji could respond, Jaiwu rushed into the kitchen, his face worried. "Boss, there's a problem. Table 12. The guest is angry about something." Minji sighed. Angry customers were part of the business, though they were rare at Haven's table. "What is the issue?" "He says his food is wrong. He says he ordered something different. But I checked my notes, and I wrote down exactly what he said." "Let me talk to him," Minji said. She followed Jaiwa back to the dining room. Table 12 held a large alien covered in green scales with multiple eyes. He was gesturing angrily at his plate. "This is not what I ordered. I clearly said no fire spice. This has fire spice in it." Minji kept her voice calm and professional. "I apologize for confusion, sir. Let me take this back to the kitchen and prepare exactly what you want. No charge for the replacement." "No," the alien snapped. "I do not want a replacement. I want to speak to the owner. This is unacceptable service." Several other guests were starting to look over. Minji felt her face grow warm, but she maintained her composure. "I am one of the owners, sir. Please, let me make this right." The alien stood up, towering over her. You? You are just a human. I want to speak to someone important." That stung, but Minji refused to let it show. "Sir, I understand you are upset, but please lower your voice. You are disturbing the other guests. I will speak however I want. I paid good money for this meal, and I am not satisfied." Minji noticed something then. The alien's eyes kept flickering toward Theric's booth. His anger seemed performative, almost like an act, and she remembered something from her training after the assassination attempt. Theric's people had taught her to watch for signs of threats, to trust her instincts. This felt wrong. This felt staged. Before she could say anything, Theric himself rose from his booth and walked over. His massive presence immediately commanded attention. The loud alien's voice died in his throat. "Is there a problem?" Theric asked quietly. The alien's multiple eyes went wide. "No, no problem. I was just leaving." "Wait," Minji said. She had spotted something. Under the table, the alien had a bag, and the bag was moving just slightly. "Sir, what is in your bag?" "Nothing. My personal belongings." But Minji had already signaled to the security guard stationed near the door, one of Theric's people. The guard came over quickly, his hand on his weapon. "Station regulations require all bags to be scanned before entering," the guard said. "Did you scan this bag when you entered?" The alien's face changed. The fake anger disappeared, replaced by real fear. He grabbed his bag and tried to run, but the guard was faster. Within seconds, the alien was on the floor, the guard's knee on his back. Other guards appeared from various points in the restaurant. Minji had not even noticed them, but of course Theric never traveled without protection. The bag was carefully opened, and inside was a small device, blinking with red lights. "Bomb," the guard said grimly. "Small yield, but enough to kill everyone in this section." Panic rippled through the restaurant. Guests started standing, moving toward the exits. But Theric's voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone remain calm. The device is contained. My people will handle this. Please stay seated and finish your meals. There is no danger now." Station security arrived within minutes. They took the alien away and carefully removed the device. The head security officer apologized profusely to Theric and Minji. "We will investigate how he got that device past our scanners," the officer promised. This should never have happened. After security left, Theric looked at Minji with something like pride in his eyes. You spotted the threat again. Even after 6 months, you remain alert. Something felt wrong, Minji admitted. The way he was acting. It did not feel real. Trust that instinct, Theric said. It has saved my life once. Tonight it may have saved many lives. The rest of the evening passed without incident. Though many guests chose to leave early, Minji could not blame them. 2 attempts on Theric's life in 6 months, both at places where he dined. It was starting to feel like a pattern. After closing, Minji sat in the empty restaurant with Dohayan and Theric. Yura had left earlier, but Theric stayed behind. They will keep coming, Theric said quietly. As long as I am here, this restaurant will be a target. I should stop coming, for your safety. No, Minji said firmly. This is your place too. You made this possible. We will not let fear win. She is right, Dohayan added. Besides, we have good security now. We know what to watch for. And Minji has proven twice that she can spot danger before anyone else. Theric was quiet for a long moment. You know, he said finally, in my culture we have a saying, the strongest fortress is not built with walls, but with loyalty. You have both shown me incredible loyalty. I will not forget that. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the napkin, the one from that first night. He had it preserved in some kind of clear material now, protected from damage. I keep this in my office, Theric explained. It reminds me that courage comes in many forms. That a human waitress with nothing but her sharp eyes and a pen saved a dragon warrior. It reminds me that I am lucky to know you both. Minji felt tears prick her eyes. We are the lucky ones. You gave us this dream. No, Theric corrected gently. You earned this dream. I simply provided the opportunity. You both worked hard, took risks, and built something beautiful here. This restaurant has become known across the station as a place of safety and excellence. That is your doing, not mine. Later, after Theric left with his guards, Minji and Dohayan cleaned up and locked the doors. The 2 guards assigned to protect them fell into step as they walked home. Do you ever regret it? Dohayan asked as they walked through the station corridors. Passing that napkin? Everything that came after? Minji thought about it. The fear, the danger, the responsibility. But also the restaurant, the success, the satisfaction of building something with her own hands. The knowledge that she had saved lives. Not just once but twice now. No, she said. I do not regret it. Not for a second. 1 year after the napkin incident, Haven's table had become more than just a restaurant. It had become a symbol. People across Horizon Point talked about it as the place where enemies could meet in peace, where food brought together species that had fought wars against each other. The neutral ground that a human woman and her brother had created with the backing of a dragon lord. Minji walked through the dining room during the quiet afternoon hours, training their newest waitress. Her name was Hyojin, a young woman fresh off a transport ship from Earth. She reminded Minji of herself a few years ago, nervous and eager to prove herself. The most important thing is to watch, Minji explained, gesturing around the empty restaurant. Not just what people say, but how they move, how they sit, where their eyes go. You can learn everything about a customer just by observing. That sounds hard, Hyojin said nervously. It is at first, Minji admitted, but it becomes natural. And it might save your life someday or someone else's life. Hyojin's eyes widened. You mean like what you did? Everyone on the station knows that story. How you saved Theric with just a napkin. Minji felt her face grow warm. The story had spread far beyond what she ever expected. Some versions were accurate. Some were wild exaggerations that had her fighting the assassin herself or having magical powers. She had heard one version where she was secretly a trained spy. I just noticed something wrong and acted on it. Minji said simply, that is what I am teaching you. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. The door chimed, and several customers entered. Lunch service was about to begin. Minji watched as Hyojin greeted them, her movement still a bit stiff and formal. But she would learn. They all did. Dohayan emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron. The new menu items are ready for tonight. I want you to try them first. You always want me to try everything, Minji teased. I'm going to gain so much weight. Nonsense. You worked too hard to gain weight. Now come taste this. In the kitchen, Do Hyan had prepared 3 new dishes. Each one was a fusion of human cooking and alien ingredients, the style that had made Haven's table famous. Minji tasted each one carefully, offering suggestions and praise. Perfect, she declared after the 3rd dish. The customers will love them. The afternoon service went smoothly. Minji divided her time between managing the floor and helping Hyojin learn the routines. By evening, the restaurant was full again. Every table occupied. Every booth filled with diners from a dozen different worlds. Theric arrived at his usual time, but tonight he was not alone. With him was an older dragon. Scales silver with age, eyes sharp and intelligent. Yura accompanied them as well, along with 2 other dragons Minji did not recognize. Good evening, Minji greeted them. Your usual table? Yes, thank you, Theric said. Then he added quietly, This is an important meeting, very important. I trust you will ensure we are not disturbed. Of course, Minji promised. She led them to the large private booth in the corner, the one with the best view of the stars. After taking their drink orders, she instructed the staff to give that table extra space and attention. Hyojin leaned over. Who is the old dragon? He looks important. I do not know, Minji admitted, but Theric seems tense. Keep an eye on that section. Make sure everything is perfect. As the evening progressed, Minji noticed something strange. Several new customers had arrived, all within the last hour. None of them had reservations, which was unusual for a busy night. They sat at different tables, but they all had clear sight lines to Theric's booth, and none of them seemed very interested in their food. That old familiar feeling crept up Minji's spine. The same instinct that had warned her about the fake waiter a year ago. The same sense that had spotted the bomber 6 months ago. Something was wrong. She moved casually through the dining room, observing. The suspicious customers were all different species. A Centaurian at table 5, a human at table 9, a KRYLL at table 14. They did not look at each other, showed no signs of working together. But Minji noticed they all had the same tell. Their eyes moved in a pattern, checking exits, counting security guards, measuring distances. They were professionals, and they were planning something. Minji's heart started racing, but she kept her face calm. She approached Jaiwoo and spoke quietly. Tell the head security guard I need to speak with him. Now, but do it casually. Do not alarm anyone. Jaiwoo nodded and slipped away. Minutes later, the guard, a tall alien named Corvus, approached Minji near the kitchen door. Problem? He asked in a low voice. Maybe, Minji said. She described the suspicious customers, their positions, their behavior. Corvus's expression grew serious. That is a kill box formation, he said grimly. Multiple shooters, overlapping fields of fire. If they all draw weapons at once, my team will not be able to stop them all fast enough. What do we do? Corvus thought quickly. We evacuate quietly. Get the innocent customers out first. Then we confront the threats. That will take too long, Minji said. And if they see us evacuating, they will know we spotted them. They might start shooting immediately. You have a better idea? Minji thought about it. She thought about the first time, when she had written on a napkin, about the second time, when she had trusted her instincts about the bomber. Both times, she had acted quickly and quietly to prevent violence before it started. Can you get more guards in here without them noticing? She asked. Maybe. We have people stationed outside. But bringing them in will be obvious. Not if they come in as customers, Minji said, or as staff. We have the kitchen entrance, the supply entrance, the emergency exits. Use all of them. Surround these people without them realizing it. Corvus stared at her for a moment. Then he smiled. You should have been a security chief. Give me 5 minutes. While Corvus quietly coordinated with his team through his communication device, Minji went to Theric's booth. She leaned down and spoke softly. Sir, I need to inform you of a situation. Theric looked up, his amber eyes immediately alert. What situation? Minji quickly explained about the suspicious customers. Theric's expression did not change, but she saw his claws extend slightly, a sign of readiness for combat. The old silver dragon spoke up. How certain are you of this threat? 90%, Minji said. I have been wrong before, but my instinct have saved lives twice now. I trust them. I trust them too, Theric said firmly. What is the plan? Security is moving into position now, but I need you all to stay calm and act normal. If the attackers realize we know, they might act immediately. Yura leaned forward. How many threats? At least 5 that I have identified. There may be more. The old dragon made a rumbling sound. 5 against their security team, plus the 4 of us. Poor odds of them. They do not know they're surrounded yet, Theric said. That is their mistake. Minji returned to the main floor. Corvus gave her a subtle nod. His people were in position. Additional guards had entered disguised as late diners or delivery workers. They were slowly tightening the circle around the 5 suspicious customers. On my signal, Corvus said through his communication device. But before he could give the signal, one of the threats moved. The Centaurian at table 5 suddenly stood up, his hand moving toward his jacket. He had spotted something, maybe noticed a guard getting too close. Now! Corvus shouted. Everything happened at once. Guards rushed forward from all directions. Customers screamed and dove under tables. The 5 threats all drew weapons simultaneously, just as Corvus had predicted. But they were surrounded. Before they could fire a single shot, Theric's security team had them pinned. It was over in seconds, professional and efficient. Not a single shot fired, not a single customer harmed. Station security arrived and took the 5 attackers into custody. The head officer approached Minji, shaking his head in amazement. Third time, he said. Third time you have spotted a threat before it became deadly. How do you do it? I pay attention, Minji said simply. And I remember that in a restaurant, everyone should be focused on their food. When they are not, there is usually a reason. The officer laughed. You are wasted as a restaurant manager. Have you ever thought about joining station security? No, thank you, Minji said. I like my job just fine. After security left and the shocked customers were calmed down with free drinks and desserts, Theric approached Minji again. The old silver dragon was with him. Minji, this is Elder Sarthak, Theric said. He is the head of the Draconis Council, the leader of all dragon clans in this sector. Minji's eyes widened. She had just saved the life of the most powerful dragon in the region. She bowed deeply, unsure of the proper protocol. Rise, young human, Sarthak said, his voice ancient and wise. You have done my people a great service tonight. Those assassins would have killed not just me, but many innocents in this place. Your quick thinking and brave heart prevented a tragedy. I was just doing what was right, Minji said. Just doing what is right, Sarthak repeated. Do you hear that, Theric? Such simple words, yet so few beings actually live by them. This human exemplifies the best qualities of any species. Courage, wisdom, selflessness. He turned back to Minji. I am told this is not the first time you have saved lives in this restaurant, that you have become known across the station as someone who sees what others miss. People talk too much, Minji said, embarrassed. No, they do not talk enough about people like you, Sarthak said. The galaxy focuses on warriors and politicians, on the loud and the powerful. But civilization is built on people like you, the ones who work hard, who care about others, who act with courage when it matters. He pulled something from his robe, a small medal made of some silver metal. This is the Star of Valor, given by the Draconis Council to those who show exceptional bravery. Very few non-dragons have ever received it. I want you to have it. Minji took the medal with trembling hands. It was warm to the touch and surprisingly heavy. I do not know what to say. Say you will continue being who you are, Sarthak said. The galaxy needs more people who notice the small things, who trust their instincts, who protect the innocent. Later, after all the guests had left and the restaurant was clean, Minji sat with Dohayan in the empty dining room. The medal sat on the table between them, catching the light from the stars outside. 3 times, Dohayan said softly. 3 times you have saved people. You are a hero, little sister. I am just a waitress who pays attention, Minji said. No, Dohayan corrected. You are a waitress who became a hero. There is a difference. Minji picked up the medal, feeling its weight. She thought about that first night, when she had written a warning on a napkin, because she did not know what else to do. She had been so scared, so unsure, but she had acted anyway. Now, a year later, she had helped create a restaurant that brought together different species in peace. She had saved lives multiple times. She had earned the respect of dragons and humans alike. And she had proven that you did not need to be strong or powerful to make a difference. Sometimes all you needed was sharp eyes, a calm mind, and the courage to act when it mattered. Come on, Dohayan said, standing up. Let's go home. Tomorrow is another day, and we have a restaurant to run. As they walked out into the station corridors, their security guards falling into step beside them, Minji looked back at Haven's table. The sign glowed softly in the darkness, welcoming travelers from across the galaxy. She smiled. This was her place, her restaurant, her second home, and she would protect it and everyone in it one careful observation at a time, because that was what she did. That was who she was, a human waitress who noticed things, who trusted her instincts, and who refused to look away when danger threatened. And in the vast complexity of the galaxy, sometimes that was exactly what heroes looked like.